Alright, now the story of the third birthday is pretty freaking confusing. I will say it right there. Now, if I can explain the story as easily as I can, then I'll explain it like this. The story of the third birthday follows Aya Bree, who is the main heroine of the first two games, the first two Parasite Eve games. If you don't know, this is the third one, except it's on the PSP and it's not on the PS1. So that's the big difference. Actually, it's not the big difference, but I'll talk about that later. Anyway, the story here is that Aya Bree is a member of this organization called CTI who has to go into the past to stop these creatures called the Twisted from, killing people and turning them into them. And she has to go back and stop them in the past so the future will be fine. And uh, throughout the story, she also has to figure out who she is because when she was figured out by these, when she was found by the CTI, she had no idea who she was. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know. And throughout the story, she has to figure out who she is really and stop these twisted creatures. And holy shit. I'm just gonna say right here, the story is really confusing. I explained it pretty simple right there, so you're probably like, that's kind of easy to follow. No, don't worry. There's a lot more in this story that is confusing. And I'm just gonna leave it off there. There's no real characters that are likable or anything. The story's confusing. I don't know. It's okay for being completely fucking confusing. Uh, it's not good. It's not a good story. Let's go on to the sound. Alright, now the sound for the third birthday is pretty decent. I don't really want to go that much into the sound because, it's on the PSP, so, everything sounds like what it's supposed to. Gunfire sounds like that, explosions. Everything sounds like what it's supposed to, but it doesn't sound anything like... It's not remarkable by any stretch of the imagination, but it is pretty decent. And the voice acting is not that bad. It isn't. There's some that's actually pretty decent, but most of it's pretty generic and kind of forgettable, I would say. So I would just say the sound overall is okay. That's all I'll say. The sound is okay. So let's go on to the graphics. Okay, now the graphics for this game, for a PSP game, are actually really, really good. I really enjoy looking at these graphics, mostly because there's a lot of CG cutscenes in this game, and all the CG cutscenes are actually really well done. They look really cool, has some really cool little action here and there, mostly with the creatures destroying, buildings just falling down and stuff, and it looked really, really nice. The actual gameplay graphics don't look bad either. They actually look really good. The creature designs are really cool looking. Some of them are actually very original. There's this one creature that is actually, when it comes out of this little portal thing or something. It comes out like a little ball and then, stretches out and it becomes bigger and it attacks the shit out of you and hurts you. And it's really cool. The design is really cool. The character models in the gameplay look really good also, but in the cutscenes they look amazing, I would say. And overall, I thought this was a great looking PSP game, and I was very impressed. I liked the special effects, I liked the animations. The animations weren't bad, the designs were really cool, and overall I just liked the graphics. So let's just say that. The graphics are really good in this game. So let's go on to the gameplay. Alright, now the gameplay for the third birthday is your standard third-person shooting affair, where you use the R trigger, whatever the hell it's called on the PSP, to aim and lock onto an enemy, and you use the R button to go and kill that enemy, just shoot. And you can also use grenades, you can level up, you can get different guns. It's your standard third-person shooting affair, and it works all pretty decently for the PSP. And when I say for the PSP, because you don't have that second analog stick which you need for many other games, and it works pretty decently for the PSP. I have to say, I was definitely impressed with it. Now, besides the shooting aspect to the game, you also have a different aspect to the game, which is called the overdrive feature, which is actually really cool. It's not that original. We've even seen a game that came out this year that does the exact same thing. Maybe not as good, but it still does the same thing, where the overdrive feature is where you can go out of your body, pretty much, and go and travel to another person's body, another ally's body in the game, or the environment, and go and take over them. And the only difference is that you go there and you pretty much acquire their gun. You don't take their appearance. You still look like Aya Bree, but you take their position and their gun. So it actually is really cool. You do it for some strategy and stuff. If there's an enemy right in front of you and you're about to die, you can just go and swap bodies and pretty much mow down that enemy right there and go, yeah, what's up? Strategy. And And it's a really cool feature. It's not great or anything, but it's definitely better than the other game that did it, which was Mindjack that came out this year. Definitely better than Mindjack, because Mindjack was just a crappy game. And this one, not that bad. Overall, I really like the game. I really like the gameplay. Definitely works, I'd say that, unlike Mindjack, which is another game I guess I could compare it to because the story didn't make sense in that game either. And overall, I really like the game. It was definitely fun, definitely worth a rent. If you have GameFly, rent it because it's a pretty decent game. So overall, there you go. There's my review for the third birthday. Check the description for the written review and the score. Thank you and goodbye.